Welcome to another exciting episode of Rare Genes and Real Dreams. Today I have Dr. Anastasia with me. She is a research scientist at Einstein College of Medicine. She is really an expert in the field of breast cancer. Today we will dive into her academic journey and the inspiring story of how she built her career in science. Welcome Anastasia to Rare Genes and Real
Thank you,
Dreams.
Amanat. I can call you Amanat, right?
Yes, yeah.
Or should we keep it professional, like
Yeah.
Dr. Amanat?
No, no, you can.
So thank you very much for having me. And I want to congratulate you for giving scientists the opportunity to share their insight and their experience, especially here in the US, but also giving to other scientists worldwide the opportunity to be inspired. So
That's so nice
we
of you.
owe that kind of connection to you. So thank you.
No, it's my pleasure. So let's start at the beginning. You studied in the Greece before moving abroad. So could you tell us a little bit about your early education in Greece?
Yeah. So my education trip was really short and specific in Greece. I was born and raised in an island of North Aegean called Lesbos. So all of my years until 18, I lived there and I attended public schools from the lower grade of education until the highest level of education. Eventually, I entered veterinary medicine in another city, in the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, where I graduated from on November 2022. And some months after, I came here to work as a postdoctoral fellow at Albert Einstein.
That's so nice. So just out of curiosity, how challenging or comparative the education system is in Greece? Is it really easy to get into a good institute, or you really have to work hard for that?
So we take national exams, as I think they do in most
Yeah.
countries all over the world. And the truth is, our exams are really hard. We write for 8 hours in total, like 4
Oh,
separate days. So 2 hours a day. Sometimes some students, according to which schools they want to enter, they might give a couple of courses more than we do. But it takes so many years to get prepared and eventually achieve your goal. So our achievement of entering the goal and the school we targeted is totally dependent on this score we are achieving through the exams. So I would characterize this a little bit unfair, because everybody has their own bad days and you don't
Yeah.
know which day
That's true.
it will be your bad day. And I think in this way it could be characterized competitive. Unfortunately, your whole path in education and your grades throughout the years, they don't really count. But as any system of education in other countries, this is also competitive and a little bit difficult.
Okay.
I think it's
Yeah.
it's a characteristic of the systems of education worldwide.
Yeah, I guess you sum it up very well. So, since you have a doctorate degree in veterinary medicine, and I was just wondering that what really inspired you to move from DVM into cancer research?
So even before entering veterinary medicine school, I always knew that I wanted to be involved in research and discover, something and contribute to humanity and humans' health. So entering the school, I realized that as a veterinarian, I had a great privilege of having studied comparative pathology, physiology, anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
And although I didn't really work on mice in veterinary medicine, I was more familiar with
Mm-hmm.
working on animals compared maybe to medical students or other students that
Yeah,
don't really interact with animals.
animal. Yeah.
And the truth is that the traditional way we think of veterinarians is having their own clinic and taking care of companion animals or industry animals in farms. But the truth is that DVM as a degree gives you a wide spectrum of positions and opportunities to hold. So research is one of this, especially the translational research I am
Yeah.
involved in.
That's so fascinating. Yeah, there are so. I mean, there are very few people who after having a professional degree, then transition into a research-related environment, and you are one of them.
But you are also one of them, right?
Yes. Yeah. As every journey comes with hurdles, could you tell us some of your struggles that you have faced while transitioning from Greece to the US? I imagine there must have been both personal and academic challenges along the way. What were the major ones that you have faced, and what steps did you take to overcome them?
So I understand because I made that step at 23 years old. So I was quite young and I changed my whole life. I changed continent.
Mm-hmm.
And things are very different back home, especially when you're a student. But here I'm not a student anymore. I'm
Yeah.
like an employee having my own duties and responsibilities, like taking care of myself, paying my taxes. Nobody prepares you for that. But besides these practical things, I can say that my transition was really smooth
Mm-hmm.
because I always wanted to do research. As we know, USA is a metropole of research. The heart of research beats here. So I wanted to do research in a very good level and with the funding that we all know it takes to make good research. So I was really, really sure what I wanted to do. And I was really lucky to have a supportive family, especially my parents, my
Mm-hmm.
friends, my mentors, everyone during this journey that believed in me and inspired me made it easier to do this transition and change continent literally to follow
Yes.
my
Yeah.
dream. So every beginning has its own struggles and
Yeah.
difficulties, but at the end of the day, if you do what you love, it's really important because it gives you energy. It fuels your energy back and gives you patience to, like jump any obstacle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Since most of our audience is students, early career researchers, or people from different walks of life, I was wondering if you could describe or summarize the main points of your research on cancer or breast cancer for a broad audience.
So yes, I study breast cancer and I'm focused on hormone sensitive breast cancer subtypes, especially the estrogen receptor positive subtype,
Mm-hmm.
which is the most common here in the US. And I don't know if you know. I mean, like your field is a little bit different, but the Condelis Entenberg Octile lab, where I belong, have discovered years now an nematogenous mechanism of dissemination of tumor cells,
Mm-hmm.
breast tumor cells, to other sites, other secondary organs such as lungs and bone marrow. Of course, we know that this mechanism applies in other cancer types also. So, the basic idea of my project is that I study different treatments
Mm-hmm.
such as chemotherapy, endocrine therapy, in both neoadjuvant and adjuvant settings. So basically, when tumor is still in the mouse or is resected respectively. And I do study the effect of these drugs in the tumor microenvironment of
Mm-hmm.
metastasis doorway, which is a mechanism of hematogenous dissemination my lab discovered. Basically, it's vascular portals that show opening events, and we know that during these events the cancer cells can intravasate and disseminate to secondary sites. So we see how treatment changes and causes any prometastatic um, observations,
Mm-hmm.
and how it affects the activity of these vascular openings.
Yeah, that's too much to digest,
Yeah,
even for
I
me.
hope
Yeah,
I made it simple.
yeah, it's pretty clear, but it's difficult to understand the other fields, right? Everybody is expert in their
Yeah.
own fields. So, are there any exciting pharmacological insight that you gained from your research in cancer?
So until now, because I'm still trying to figure it out after 2.5 years working in the field,
Mm-hmm.
our lab has published before that chemotherapy induces prometastatic changes
Mm-hmm.
and basically causes induction of activity of these TMM doorways and basically favors metastasis and dissemination. I do study endocrine therapy, and it's a milder therapy. So until now, we haven't seen the same effects.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that endocrine therapy doesn't really induce the activity of these vascular portals, the TMM doorways.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very encouraging that we don't see any induction. And meantime, we're working on that, hoping that we may reveal other mechanisms of resistance and consequently new therapeutic targets, because resistance in breast cancer is a very big issue that we face even decades after the treatment of patients.
Yeah. So that's so interesting to know that you are using different drug modalities to test that whether they are working or not working. So I was just wondering what are the different techniques that you use to assess whether a drug is working or not. And since you are an experimentalist, you mostly work on cell lines, or you also do some in vivo stuff.
I do translational research. I basically do in vivo experiments. I work with mice,
Mhm.
and what we do is to generate a near positive xenograph mouse model where we study the different drugs, chemotherapy, endocrine therapy, on adjuvant setting or on neoadjuvant setting. Of course, the primary tumor and the secondary organs are collected, and we try to see the effect of these drugs by staining with immunofluorescence, immunohistochemistry, and analyzing these um, slides, these
Mhm.
paraffin sections, and trying to see the effect.
Yeah. Okay. So since the research environment is very fast and the working style of United States of America is completely different
Mhm.
compared to European countries and Asian countries. So I just really want to get your opinion that what is the mindset that a researcher should have if he really want to succeed here in the United States of America.
Well, you may even know better than me some days in research are overwhelming.
Yeah.
You try so hard, and the data you get, it's not what you hypothesized you will get.
Hmm.
But this doesn't mean that you should give up. What I would tell researchers is keep working hard and keep having on mind that eventually we have patients outside
Hmm.
waiting for our results and data that should be consistent and
Hmm.
responsible. So I would tell them just keep working hard. It pays off. Sometimes it's later than you imagine, but it does pay off.
Yeah. Okay. Let's focus on the future of cancer research. How do you see AI and big data transforming cancer research, let's say in the next decade or so?
Well, AI is a new hot topic. Most of the diseases are a result of multiple factors:
Yeah.
social factors, economic factors, epigenomic
Yeah.
factors. A lot of data, a lot of things can really affect a disease and its result. So I know in order to handle these data and create other data and decisions for patients, it's not feasible in human nature. We
Yeah.
want to help. And I believe that computers and AI can help on that, managing data and, like grouping data, leading to results, combining things. Of course, we need to keep in mind that whatever the result is, we need to double check
Yeah.
because these machines are controlled by people, which means if a wrong order is given, this will lead to a wrong result. I do believe in personalized medicine. I believe that we should face each patient, no matter the disease, as a very unique occasion, that we need to see what it works and what doesn't work and how we can adjust treatment options and generally
Yeah.
handling of patients in order to assure patient welfare and a healthy and long life.
Yeah, I guess you sum it up nicely because, in my opinion, I guess AI should go in parallel with the wet lab.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're right.
So, yeah. So, since most of our audience is like students and researchers who really wants to go abroad and work there, so I just want your input or your opinion that what are the different skill set or the mindset they should have if they really want to succeed here in the United States of America. Uh, are there any particular or specific advice you really want to give them so that they can, uh, utilize their work
Yeah.
and skills properly?
Like I think you need to be open in new techniques. Try to learn and absorb as many things as possible around you. Ask for help, ask questions. Do not
Hmm.
hesitate because people, when we are young, we are afraid of asking things. No, ask as many times as you want in order to reassure that you understood and that you do it in the correct way. I would also say encourage yourself because you should be the one that encourages yourself no matter what other people tell you. If you
Hmm.
don't believe in you, it doesn't really matter. Find ways and reasons to stay optimistic and keep on working hard. So, yeah,
In other words, keep pushing, right?
keep pushing and keep watching how more experienced people than you work.
Yeah.
Learn from them, learn from your colleagues, try to, detect the good points at what you see. Either is like a technique in the lab or a
Hmm.
presentation in a work in progress.
Yeah, that's true.
Try to detect the good things and try to mimic them in a good way.
Yeah, that's a very good piece of advice that anybody can, have it. So this is a very general question. If you could go back
Mhm.
and give one specific advice to your younger self, starting out a career in science, what it would be?
I've said it twice, but I will tell it also a third time. I think hard work is a key. Sometimes people believe in smart work, not hard work.
Uh-huh.
But I think that sometimes you can't avoid hard work, right?
Yes,
No
yeah,
matter how smart you work.
that's
So
true.
I would say keep on working hard. And if I could say something more relaxing, it would be trust the process of education and do not be impatient. Things come on their timing when it's the correct timing for them, and just keep on mind on that you are exactly where you need to be.
Yes, yeah. As you know that depression is very prevalent among PhD students and early career researchers. So, what are different habits are the things that you do outside of the lab in order to keep yourself healthy and focused so that it gives you the energy to go back again tomorrow and
Yeah.
work again?
So I try to maintain a daily schedule of gym routine.
Hmm.
I try to do, like sports and more spiritual things like yoga that will help me keep my mind in peace and my mind and my body in a healthy shape. Of course, I think it's really important to stay social.
Yeah,
It is a social environment. Research is a very social
exactly.
environment, but at the meantime, although you coexist with other people, you can easily be, like in your own space, like working in silence and have like a boundary.
Yeah,
Um, but besides this, the only thing you talk about when you're in a lab is science. So I believe it's really important to maintain the social part while not talking about science.
science.
Of course, we all have friends that are outside of science and they
Yeah,
want to talk about science, like, like, did
what
you
you do?
discover the drug for the
Yes,
cancer
yes, yes.
and things like that. But it's important to decharge your mind and spirit with other things besides science, like maybe like a walk with your beloved ones,
Yeah,
like a nice gathering, things like that. Yeah. And
yeah,
moments that you will remember. And I think you charge yourself and then you come back with new ideas. And
yeah.
yeah.
Because otherwise, research is very boring. If you if you don't have any other activities,
Yeah,
it's like
it's not really boring, but I catch myself a lot of times going back home and thinking about lab things, thinking about my projects, thinking about my
yeah,
next steps. And until a point it's okay and it's healthy, because it's not something we do like in a very formal way. We do it because we love it. We do
yeah,
it because we are passionate and it makes sense to be absorbed by it. But at the meantime, you need to, to to be active in other things that
yes,
also happen around you, right? You don't want to
yeah,
be isolated and sterilized like
yeah.
in the
That's
lab.
true.
You want to be
Open as
involved
well.
in
Yeah.
what's going on. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Anastasia, for your
Thank you,
time
Manuel.
and sharing your story. I'm sure our listener will be inspired by your story and wishing you a continued success in your research and your discoveries.
Thank you, man, and
Thank
I
you so
wish you
much.
the best too. Thank you.